Things are picking up speed as everything continues to spiral in the Iran-US war. But before we get into that, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All right, now let's get into it. Iran says that there will be no safety if Iran's security concerns are not guaranteed. So what are we talking about? We're talking about that Iran wants the U.S. out of the Middle East. That's really high on their list. They also want the U.S. to hand over Hormuz, no questions, that Iran has complete control over the Strait of Hormuz and can do with it as they want. Also, they want basically just the U.S. to be completely hands off of Iran. They don't want the U.S. to do anything, no meddling, as they call it, no intervention, just whatever they want to do. They want the U.S. just to let them do it. All right, Trump says that every time that Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will bomb a bridge or power plant. Iran responded by saying that if the U.S. hits bridges or power plants in Iran, they will strike similar targets throughout the region. So if the U.S. hits power plants or anything, bridges, any kind of infrastructure like that in Iran, then they're going to go after all their neighbors. They're going to take out their bridges, their power plants. They're just going to basically mirror all the attacks that happen to them. So President Trump says that the U.S. is about to carry out a massive attack on Iran, something that's going to be bigger than Operation Epic Fury, bigger than anything that the U.S. has done in the war so far. There have been reports of the U.S. surging in troops and gear into the area.
There are indications the war with Iran could escalate in the coming days. The Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. military is surging equipment, assets, medics, and even special forces to the region in preparation to give President Trump a variety of options moving forward.
So some of those inbound forces include B-1 bombers coming in from the UK. And seeing as how they're coming in from the UK, Iran is threatening to target UK soil, saying that any bases used to attack Iran is a legitimate target. So the UK Minister of Defense has said that UK forces stand ready to defend against any such attacks. So Israel is reported to be opening their public bomb shelters. Israel is on high alert right now, which isn't surprising. Also, there's reports that Israel says that they are ready to join in any attacks if President Trump shifts the campaign to target Iranian regime or nuclear programs. There's also this report that says that Israel is on the verge of striking Iran. So apparently Israel is going to be holding a special security meeting on Friday. It sounds to me like we may see a joint U.S.-Israel strike over the weekend. Israel has refrained from carrying out any strikes on Iran since the war has restarted, 2 weeks ago or so, something like that. So they haven't launched any attacks on Iran at all, and which is kind of curious. Some of the thought is that if Israel joined in, that would potentially instigate other countries in the Middle East, other groups, into taking Iran's side and further spreading the war. I think that the ship has already sailed on that, but who knows? Let me know in the comments if you think that this is what it looks like to you as well. So President Trump has said that he will hold Iran responsible for any further Houthi attacks, which is interesting and kind of timely, especially since we saw a report today that Iran has deployed IRGC officers and missile equipment to the Houthis. The Houthis have been blockading Saudi ships a couple of days now, but I did see today that the Houthis have let some Chinese ships that were carrying Saudi oil pass, no problems. China appears to be snatching up all the oil it can get. All this is having the effect of limiting China's oil supply too, just like everybody else. And, that absolutely could be part of the thinking behind all this military action on the part of the U.S. We know that China is up and coming. They are doing everything they can in trying to rival the United States, and they're just going to continue to do so, and it's just going to pick up steam the further along we go. So if we can help limit their oil supply now, that's probably a good thing, and I'm sure that that's part of what people in Washington are thinking. Then, of course, there's the questions here lately about, is Russia or China helping Iran to target American forces? C-14 is reporting that the Pakistani Navy is deploying to help secure the Saudi shipping lines. You know, Pakistan needs their oil too, and cutting off the Strait of Hormuz and now blocking the Saudis from being able to use the Bab el-Mandab Strait to be able to get their oil out to the world, that's going to affect a lot of people. And we're starting to see some of those nations offer to help make sure that they can secure their own oil supply. So I've been seeing, starting yesterday, I think it was, reports that the UK has pulled their embassy staff. I haven't seen anything really official, but that's what it's starting to look like. And it makes sense seeing as how Iran is threatening the UK. So if some big attack happens over the weekend and those B-1 bombers are utilized, I mean, why would we be paying all the money to bring them in if we're not going to use them? The UK may be worried that their embassy ends up being a target because of that. And that's very understandable. The French have also evacuated their embassy staff. Was it yesterday, day before? It was reported that 2 members of the French embassy staff were picked up by Iranian security and detained. They were questioned, and at least one of them was beaten. So I can see the French being like, hey, you know, enough of this. We need to protect our people. Let's get everybody out of here. And that's kind of what I was thinking until I saw that the Germans have also pulled their embassy staff. And that's according to a German diplomat. You know, countries generally pull their diplomats out of potential war zones. Historically, that's what happened. If any kind of war is brewing and it looks like it's inevitable, countries will start pulling their diplomats. So it could be caution. They may be thinking that it looks like I am, that it looks like things are getting worse, and so let's get people out now. Alternatively, all 3 of those countries that have pulled that we know of, that have pulled their diplomat staff are NATO members. So maybe NATO's getting ready to do something, and so they're having the member countries pull their diplomatic staff. I don't know. You know, time is going to tell. Iran says that if U.S. makes good on threats, no oil will leave the Middle East. Iran will target everybody's oil infrastructure. That could be something that spurs NATO to action. You threaten to cut off people's oil and they get testy, and they're going to do whatever they can to protect that oil supply. I mean, it is the thing that makes the world go round nowadays. It's the biggest bang for our buck as far as energy. And wars have started before to protect that supply. The State Department has urged Americans to get out of the Middle East. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't before. What's going on there? When you've got a war zone in the surrounding areas where it looks like everything's spilling over and they're going to be pulled in as well, you would think that the government would tell people to get out, but maybe they were being overly optimistic and, you know, wait and see. And now that it's getting undeniable that things are spreading, now they're finally going to pull the trigger on that. Who knows? This whole thing is in flux right now. Like I said, it looks like it's just going to continue to get worse and worse. And I wouldn't be shocked if it spreads to Europe and beyond. But like I said, we're going to have to wait and see, play it by ear. Definitely everybody here in the U.S. should be a little more vigilant, paying attention to what's going on around you, because the Iranians have put out a call for all their terrorist surrogates around the world, for those sleeper cells to start waking up and prepare to attack Americans wherever. I did see a news report last night about LaGuardia Tower informing an inbound airplane that there was an alert out that there may be a man pad in operation in that area. We've got the audio from between the tower and that aircraft.
All right, Delta 2604, LaGuardia Tower, wind 210 at 10, runway 22, clear to land. Man pad alert issued at LaGuardia Airport at 0027. Use extreme caution.
All right, clear to land, runway 22, Delta 2604. And could you explain what a man pad is?
Yeah, that's a manned portable air defense system. Yeah, basically it was a report of a rocket launcher.
Okay, where was that?
There was a report by the Port Authority Police. They said by, I believe, Terminal C. We had conflicting reports, but nothing has been an issue as of yet.
Okay, Delta 2604, thanks for the information.
You're welcome. No need to respond, Delta 2064. Port Authority Police reported it was non-credible threat.
Delta 2604, thanks.
So they told the pilot that it was a false alarm, nothing to see here, which who knows at this point. I would expect for a similar message to go out, even if it wasn't a false alarm. I mean, this does say that they are continuing to investigate, which kind of leads me, up in the air. Who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think. Was this a legitimate threat, or was it somebody, being over vigilant and jumping the gun? We don't know. But with everything that's going on with Iran, it pays to be vigilant. Better safe than sorry. So that's all that I have for now. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And we'll see you next time.